Hello, everyone. Last time we talked about transit. Then we learned what kind of results are expected when transiting. Saturn meets natal planets. Transit Rahu meets natal planets, showing a diplomatic approach or a safe middle path. You might feel that some aspects are extremely positive and some are extremely negative. So there will definitely be something happening in someone's life. This means that a diplomatic approach is being taken, a safe middle path is being followed. But not case Rahu expands, Rahu enhances good combinations. Because Rahu's simple job is to expand anything. If there is a good combination in your chart, then Rahu will expand that good combination. If bad is, it expands bad. While doing so, Rahul also keeps in mind which zodiac sign or element he is passing through, whether he is comfortable there, the enmity or friendship with the planet he is meeting will also matter. What kind of combinations are there in his trine, which I mentioned last time? If Rahu is meeting any NM planet, but there are combinations in its trine that support or strengthen that natal planet, so the results might not be that bad. But if Rahu has enmity with that natal planet and that planet is weak in the birth chart, in this transit, there are also benefic planets or enemy planets in the trine of that planet. Now we will start moving towards negativity. Let's understand how to look at this transit. Whenever one planet meets another planet in transit, the transit planet meets the natal planet. This means one person is meeting another person, one circumstance is meeting another circumstance. For example, let's say the transit Venus meets the natal Jupiter. What could be the probability in 1 month? First of all, Jupiter does not consider Venus a friend, but both are natural benefic planets. What does Venus mean? Money is the car, the lady of your life, all right. And who is Jupiter? He is the one who is the life giver by himself. So this is this time period. This is the month. If the other combinations are supportive, then a female factor can come into a male's life. A friend might come, or they could get married. Or this is the time when you will feel like you should buy a car. They can be good at that time. So this is how you see it. In this, I mentioned earlier that we need to pay a lot of attention to the limits of friendship. Whose strength is greater, the natal planets or the transit planets, and how are the combinations forming in their trine? We will look at that combination in both the birth chart and the transit chart. It's important too to know how a planet will behave. What is that planet? Rahu. What is the self? Rahu is our ambition and attention. Wherever Rahu is, that is where our focus and attention lies. They are hungry for that assessment. That hunger never goes away quickly. The more it meets, the more the desire for water remains. If someone has Ketu in their ascendant and Rahu in the seventh house, then it's like a tug of war where they are extremely spiritual, very worldly, and extra aware. Also, at the same time, Rahu, it tells them that they need to get involved to indulge with the people. But Ketu stops them that this is not what we want to do. Because karmic desires. Now, if Rahu is in the ascendant and Ketu is in the seventh house, so you are self-obsessed. Everything starts and ends with you. And Ketu tells you that you have to surrender yourself to another person because Ketu talks about surrendering, while Rahu talks about achieving and conquering. So wherever this excess is created, there is a tug of war. It just keeps going on. So Rahu is now about mission and attention. It's deception. It's an illusion. It's operation. It's Maya, basically, an unconventional planet. Materialistic, it transforms a lot. There's ambiguity, unproductivity, instant travel, and impulsiveness. They do everything to the extreme. They rebel. Their intensity is very high. The intensity to do anything is high. This means they can make good things even better. And especially in the Kali Yuga, there can't be any planet that gives more than this in the material world. They know how to manipulate. So again, if the work is all about manipulation, so growth will be very significant. They are mysterious. They are innovative, centric, addictive, and they bring duality to any task because they don't settle for just one. One is never enough for them. They keep it in a fantasy world, it's risk taking, it's orthodox. They don't like conventional things. They think outside the box. If transiting Rahu meets your sun, the natal sun, so what is the sun? The sun represents the father. Sun is also the sun of oneself. Fame, recognition, rewards, government stability, health, and reputation. What will now, if transiting Rahu meets the natal sun, what combinations can occur? If your Natal sun is strong, then Rahu will enhance it, making you ambitious, overconfident, and argumentative. This means that it will make you highly ambitious, overly confident, and you might start engaging in unnecessary arguments, getting caught up in intelligence. Because the sun is amplifying your soul, experiencing tension and a significant increase in ego. Now, are these trends leading you towards progress or causing a downfall? It depends. But remember, Rahu can give growth to the sun on materialistic level. Well placed, sun can hollow out the soul from within. The conjunction of sun and Rahu is a paternal defect. So this could be that time when there are health issues in the life of the father or son, or when everything is not going properly in their lives. Your own accountability and credibility may be questioned. Because Rahu is deceitful, the sun is weak, and the sun represents your market reputation and sea view, people. At that on time, it will seem like this person is not trustworthy. It means getting a stain, some kind of government raid happening, or having a dispute with the government. Power and status are our sun. It's about obsession or depth, getting attached to the idea that I have to be number one. Anyhow, there are immediate connections with Rahu. So it could be during that time for the father or the son, immediate connections formed. Moon, and remember, sun, Rahu, sun, and moon. This is not friendly. So mostly these combinations tend to lead towards negativity. But this well placed sun provides materialistic growth. Like this, it would be very good if Rahu is one strong moon or strong sun is present because they are projecting what you have. It's like you floated. But if Rahu is weak, it's with the sun or moon. It means you fake it, you make it. No, you are just showing off. What is the moon? The moon is the mother, it's female, it's the mind, it's the medical state, it's change, it's travel, it's blame, it's cash money, and it's sleep. If Rahu meets the moon, it means that becoming overwhelmed with emotions. Rahu is cunning, so cunningness is coming into the mind. You are looking for opportunities, over nurturing, getting emotional over small things. It can also happen that becoming impatient is the moon. The moon also speaks what's going on in my mind. And Rahul is saying, I need it right now. What you want it right now. Strong designers and sensuality come in. The mind needs emotional validation. The mind becomes volatile. After that, she gets very high from these instances. You may have noticed that many people don't have another child for a few years after having one. But suddenly, after 8 or 9 years, they feel like, no, I want another baby in my life. So there can be a difference of 10 to 12 years. It could be that during that time, Rahu is transiting through your mouth. So they tell you that I want one more baby in my life. Becoming overly possessive or manipulative. Moon with Rahu affects mother's mental health. If there are combinations in the chart, it might not be a good time for the mother. Then there could be misunderstandings with the mother. If the moon is weak in the 6th, 8th, 12th house or afflicted and Rahu transits it, it can cause anxiety, phobias, and false assumptions. A weak moon with Rahu transiting can cause anxiety, phobias, and unlikely assumptions. Animosity may lead to criminal thoughts, giving anxiety and phobias, and assuming something that can never happen. If there is enmity towards someone, then such thoughts come to mind as if they lead towards criminal tendencies or behavior. And having mental disorders, experiencing some kind of delusion, fear or uncertainty in the mind, being scared of small things. And while you may appear very happy on Instagram, in reality, you are not happy. Because remember, Rahu will only provide materialistic gains, but will not give internal peace to either the sun or the moon. It's about the conscious mind. Now, let's say this Pan moon is in the 8th house and you are a virtual person of 40. So now this conscious mind will start connecting to different realms where it will begin to hear or see things that others are not hearing or seeing. Because Rahu is the significator of underworld travel, and Rahu represents our paternal grandparents, so they might be traveling at this time. There might be some major changes, both good and bad, happening in their life. It could be that your mind is inclined towards culture or meeting people immediately, opportunities to meet them. What is Mars? Mars represents the husband, the younger brother, land property, police, eyebrows, teeth, muscles, the bedroom, fighting, ability, and violence. You might know this concept where we say that if someone is Manglik, they should marry another Manglik. But if Mars is with Rahu, then it's surprising because they say that now it's not Manglik because Mars is a very straightforward planet. That's why they are considered bad. Because in marriage, you need to be more diplomatic than to be straightforward. Now, if Rahu is with Mars, then they are presenting their energy in a diplomatic way. You have shown diplomacy at a certain external level, but internally, that Mars remains the same. This means that the intense energy we have is becoming even more intense. If Mars is fiery, it's strong, and Rahu will project it. This is a different matter. Because if Mars is of the fire element, it's strong, and Rahu projects it. In a week, Mars will be an illusion. The Rahu-Mars conjunction isn't beneficial. 1 week is going to put Mars into further illusion or delusion. So the conjunction of Rahu and Mars is not very beneficial, but yes, it will keep you ahead in competitions because you want to rise to the top. Actions will happen, and what will happen is extreme temperament. Sometimes Rahu will tell him that control yourself. You don't have to control yourself. It will take you out of the diplomatic way and sometimes make you so ruthless that you don't understand what I suddenly did because I had been controlling my angle for such a long time. Taking risks and breaking taboos will give him strength as Mars enhances willpower, and risk taking increasing aggression and animal instincts, and Mars is our strength, willpower, and risk taking ability. So all of these are increasing. Aggression increases a lot. Animal instincts come in. Mars and the Sun. In fire element planets, the libido works excessively, leading to an increase. During that time period, the physical strength can become extreme, or you are faking it, meaning that the muscles and physique you've built are not real. They are made by taking medicines. Mars is the cause of accidents. Now, the probability will increase. Disputes regarding property among brothers. There could also be a possibility of some kind of disagreement or conflict with brothers. Disputes related to property or legal matters. There could be court cases. Disputes related to legal matters with our relatives, especially those who are blood related, because Mars is associated with blood. It's also important to get your own blood test done during that time. What is Mercury? Mercury is our sister. It represents education, communication, speech, skin, throat, trade, and commerce. Remember that Rahu dislikes birth planets, but likes Mercury, outcomes probable. But it has friendship with Mercury. So here we will face a higher probability of good things happening. Mercury represents a communication style where arguments or articulation can come into play. You exactly know which words to use when, how to mesmerize someone, just like Rahu is said to influence the second house, where he can mesmerize anyone with his words. So again, with Mercury's communication style, you can mesmerize someone with your communicative style. Expressions will become very exotic. Attention will shift towards languages. The narrative style and marketing skills will become very good and crafty. Mercury is intellect, so it will bring an increase in intellect and logic. Mercury is nervous energy, and it can bring about overthinking or wandering thoughts, like thinking about one thing repeatedly, overanalyzing. Mercury represents language skills and learning, so the learning could be towards computer languages, foreign languages, or languages that can be dirty and fun. Mercury represents the stock market, and Rahu also indicates easy money. So during that time, you might invest more of your money in the stock market or your attention might shift there. But definitely, the nervous system can lead to skin related problems. Mercury, this fact or its trine is also having some effect on it. Sister can travel, or the sister may face some kind of health issues. That could happen. Your friendship is because of Mercury. We have friends, whether it's friendship with people from a foreign culture or with friends, you need to be mindful to avoid any kind of misunderstanding. The things we are discussing, you can think of them as a conjunction or in the natal chart. If it is in conjunction, for example, how to read Jupiter and Rahu when they are in conjunction, or Venus and Rahu as well, you can drive from these very energies because we are talking those about a simple thing. When two energies come together, what kind of results can we expect? Jupiter is the liver, the belly, the nose, the temple of wisdom, optimism, and guidance. Now, if these two come together, what does Rahu expand? There could be a big belt of issues, and the probability of metabolic problems may arise. So, go to the gym. Releases, inclinations, Jupiter. If we have a belief system, it will incline even more towards it. Exalted Jupiter, well placed Jupiter is pushing it even more. Yes, you are right. Go more towards works on this site. If Jupiter is weak and Jupiter is already with Rahu in the 9th house, then the inclination might shift towards some other belief system. You might feel that this is not working for me. I should search somewhere else. This is not getting my answer. It can also happen that there is an overly optimistic outlook because Jupiter is optimism. Rahu also expands, which can lead to being overly optimistic. Where you don't see something wrong coming, they also talk about the Pitra, Dosh. Jupiter and Rahu can indicate that children might face some difficulties during that time, or their time period might bring challenges for you. Some worry, right? Now, it's not necessary that there will be difficulties, but in your mind, your reality, when it's about the delivery time or the time of childbirth, there could be some unusual circumstances. Children might think about going out. Jupiter is also a significator of finance, so there could be secret earnings. Rahu will provide some kind of material success to Jupiter. Having an unconventional nature or an unorthodox approach towards life. Jupiter is a sign of life Rahu is dangerous. So there could be a challenging period concerning health. Rahu and Ketu also show our family dynamics. Whenever the connection of Rahu and Ketu is with Neptune, Jupiter, or Saturn, it indicates some kind of death or problems within the family. If Mars is in a trine, Jupiter and Rahu signify life and suddenness, then this can also indicate accidents. What is Venus? Venus is a system: wife, vehicle, luxury, wealth, love, intoxication, and married life. These two are friends. What will happen? Now there will be a strong desire for luxury or a tendency to spend extravagantly. You'll feel like buying branded things because you want to show off. Pleasure or intelligence will increase in every sector of life. In the Kalpurush chart, Venus rules the second and seventh houses. So the seventh house indicates an inclination towards multiple relationships, or you are a good negotiator when it comes to your relationships. You know how to handle the situation. Rahu in the seventh house is way better than Ketu because Ketu shows a tendency to cut off, while Rahu can handle situations in a more manipulative way. And if the combinations are unfavorable, then they can also indicate misunderstandings. The second house is ruled by Venus. So now you'll feel like having something exotic, something different, and you'll also enjoy things like perfume, fashion, and holding on to these ideas. There might be a bit of a fashionable or materialistic attitude during that time. Diplomacy will come into play. There could be hidden wealth or undisclosed assets when dealing with others. It might not be a good time for the wife. She could face some health issues during that period, along with fancy possessions like cars. You might meet a native from a different culture or background. That can be the Venus of your life. Your wife can be like that. Saturn is the time itself, it represents constraints, restrictions, work, jobs, and our way of working. Saturn is chronic, pessimistic, lazy, and also hardworking. Good Saturn shows hardworking, while weak Saturn indicates laziness and disease. It is often said that Rahu and Saturn are very similar. Just like Ketu and Saturn are often compared. But yes, because Ketu rules Scorpio and Rahu rules Aquarius, they differ greatly. Saturn stops. Rahu focuses on now. Their styles differ. Saturn and Rahu have different styles. So their working style is definitely very different. Now shows our actions, and Rahu shows our karmic dates. Confront past karma. Where is free will if all is charted? In fixed signs like Scorpio, Aquarius, with Rahu, Saturn, Ketu, free will is hard. When we say that, if the chart is showing everything, then where is our free will? Whenever a negative or positive combination forms in fixed signs, especially in Scorpio and Aquarius, and involves Rahu, Saturn, or Ketu, it becomes a bit difficult to apply free will. If it's in movable signs and involves benefic planets, then the remedies are much easier. Free will acts. Fixed signs have karmic ties. Free will works here. But in fixed signs, there are karmic encounters, which become a bit difficult to modify or change. If Saturn indicates disease, then this could be that time when there is some kind of chronic health issue. Saturn's pessimistic outlook amplifies that pessimistic perspective. Saturn is the way of working. Our working style can involve unlawful activities. Success can be unethical. But if good Saturn wants to achieve success in politics, wherever Rahu indicates work, you will definitely see Saturn achieving success there. and you can see it strongly. Whenever Rahu or Ketu conjoin with Saturn, especially when they are in conjunction rather than just in a trine, there is a shift or transformation in one's career. Ketu definitely brings about a change in your job. But Rahu can bring about some kind of transformation. There can also be death in the family and losses. We had talked earlier about expanding with Rahu, and it will amplify that hard-working nature or laziness. It will feel like a constraint because of Saturn's influence. This constraint has become multifold. So, what is Rahu? When Rahu transits over itself, it represents parental figures like the grandfather and grandmother. Both are grandparents. There's foreign travel, attention, accidents, sudden coincidences, and loss or hallucinations. And the main and prince of the house, Rahul meeting Rahu himself. This could be a very karmic period. This is that time period when you receive a reward or a DC for nearby actions. Some kind of life transitions for good or bad come during a transition phase. There could be a higher probability of health issues. So, during that time period, whenever Rahu associates Jupiter in a trine or when Rahu meets itself, one should pay a lot of attention to health. One should not take even a small matter lightly. When Rahu and Ketu trap you in a universal circle, it could mean that the repetitive patterns that have been going on for 12 years might have come to an end. This is a new repetitive pattern that has started. It could be a time when you have to face your inner fears. And it's time for self discovery and healing. There could be a major change in the lives of parental grandparents. Ketu represents disputes and spirituality. Rahu and Ketu may immerse in practices leading to liberation or a negative Ketu. Now, what will happen is that either Rahu and Ketu will be completely immersed in spiritual practices. This could be the time when you achieve spiritual liberation or salvation, or it could be a negative Ketu because look, what does Ketu show? Ketu shows achieving targets like saying, I have done this. Over here, we have planted our flag. We don't care about this. And if Ketu is very affected in any house, if Ketu is taking energy from a negative or weak planet, then Ketu also shows our unfulfilled desires because Ketu is nearby. So that weak Ketu is also showing this that you could not achieve this in your past life. So you have to work hard to set it up. Now, the spiritual side could be trapped there, meaning now you are just showing that you are spiritual, but in fact, you are not spiritual. You are using it to uplift yourself, to take advantage of someone, or for your own growth. Ketu represents metal grandparents, and there should be a mention of any health issues or concerns for them. When someone comes into your life as a demand or a guru who will actually deceive you in the name of spirituality, Ketu represents disputes and litigation. That is the time to rise. When you receive justice or do not receive justice, it comes to your special and spiritual beliefs. You will often see that this is the time when you have to choose between the material and spiritual worlds, and you need to create a balance. It feels like I should either give up everything or completely become a standard, or fulfilling responsibilities is the only way to be a standard. So, one aspect is observed the most when Ketu transits over Rahu and Rahu transits over Ketu. I hope you realize how important this is. It's interesting to see when metal planets meet transit planets. The energy we've discussed appears the same in conjunctions and metal charts. Thank you so much